Alright, so for the second part of this video, basically we're going to be going over what modules to use, what skills and perks to add to your tanks, as well as some additional tips and tricks. We'll go over those individually. So Todd he's joined us here for this particular session. He's going to go over some of the modules that he uses on his tanks, as well as his perks and skills that he uses for his crew members.
I've got 25, 59 battles in this particular tank, and 750 on the LT-432, using the same crew, so I've got a bit of experience with the lights. I generally use a net, dense, and coat optic. The reason I go with the coat optics over the binoculars is because the coat optics are always the out. Certain tanks which I will use them, like the LT will not yet use binoculars then, but it is a very small light tank with, very camera running fairly fast, so it can really dig in deep, and it'll use spider tanks with those outback that's usually out tanks that are behind dishes. As far as crews go, I always start my commander off with 6 tanks. Then I go to Brothers in Arms, Recon, Settlement, Situational Awareness. I'm working on firefighting as my 6th card here, because Western tanks catch fire quite easily. For my second crew, I'm going with Brothers in Arms, Snapshot, Designated Target, Concealment, Deadeye, and Firefighter. My driver, Brothers in Arms, Smooth Drive, Off-Road Driving, Clutch Braking, and Firefighting. With the driver, it's pretty much up to you what you want to do. It depends, I guess, on your tank that you're using and the way you like to stop. I'm generally a fast scout when I scout. But having a snapshot on the tank, because a light tank will have to boogie sometimes, it'll let you lock on and generally hear it better that way while the turret's moving. Designated targets good still, because when you light a tank with that TT, it'll keep it lit up for like 2 seconds longer than normal after it gets behind, so the concealment, that's always good in the light because of, that part. Because if it keeps you good, then the higher the concealment rating, the better. Deadeye. I use that in the light tank because once it reaches 100%, then I'm more likely to do some critical damage to the little tank that I'm dealing with. And if it's another light tank, I'm going to get a try real damage to screw it up. The off-road drive, when I do that, I take that for a light tank because it makes driving the best, a lot easier, quicker. The smooth ride keeps you better more steady as you're firing on the move. Clutch braking is good because it gives you the left and right moving out of the tank. But the commander got the recon in the situation is they both extended the view range on there. Some people might want to do those like third and fourth skill. I think getting recon more situational awareness in the third, but I think if you're reading both of them, you can say what they're stuff.
Right on. Alright, thanks, Todd. So, basically we're going to go over a few tips and tricks, some things to know when you're playing light tanks, and things to do and things not to do. Now, there's not always going to be the perfect answer for every situation, because the situations you run into as a light tank, they're constantly evolving and changing while the game plays out. But this is just some things to do that we're going to start out with. So we already covered a couple things, such as basically making sure that you're using double bushes and so forth, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But the main thing that you want to look at first is, one of the first things I do when I start the battle, and whether I'm in a light tank or not, I'm always looking at, while all the game's loading up and the countdown's happening, I'm always looking at the enemy makeup team, like what types of tanks they have, what tanks they have. And then I also look at my team's makeup of tanks as well. And I kind of gauge that, kind of take a mental note of what we have against them, basically. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to communicate as a light. I want to communicate, ping the map. Basically you can do that pretty easily just by hitting your control button and pinging wherever you want on the map, wherever you feel like you're going to be, wherever you're going to spot, just to let your team know, your tank destroyers, your SPGs if you have any in game, and your other tanks on your team know where you're going to try to get spots at. Very beginning of the game before it even starts. That way it kind of helps formulate where your team is going to go, where they're going to advance to, where they're going to be shooting, and they're going to know where those other tanks on the enemy team are going to be spotted right off the beginning of the game.
Light tanks, a big no-no is spawn, is camping their spawn, or near spawn. You get a concealment advantage for going on the move when behind bushes. That's for a reason. That's because you're supposed to be up close and lining up enemies with the gun. If you hide in the back, if you're even with a medium tank, or with a tank destroyer, you're not doing yourself anything. So you get up close. If you're going to be active spot, you just get up there fast and you run. If you're going to be passive, you get up to your favorite bush and you sit it tight and you let the enemy team get it off.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. One of the first things I want to talk about is knowing your tank. For light tanks, they've sacrificed armor for speed. So you don't have any armor, which means you are a very thin target for somebody. And many light tanks in the lower tiers, there are tanks up here, even 2 tiers higher, that can take you out with one shot. So one of the things you want to know about your tank is your ability to damage, your damage output. Now, on this particular tank, it's a premium Russian light tank. My ACPR is the standard round, and it averages about 180 damage. The armor piercing is actually the gold round on this tank, also averaging about 180 per shot. My total damage output per minute is 2,168, and I have a reload of 4.98 seconds. So, know your tank and what its capability is. What is your damage output? You don't want to be passively or even actively scouting and taking yourself into a situation where you're up against a heavy medium or a heavy tank that you're not going to really be able to damage effectively. So know your damage output, your ability to do damage. This is a single shot tank, and it's a 4.98 second reload. After that, you've got your magazine loaded lights, such as your AMXs and your French line. For example, you might have 3 rounds. You have back at 12 feet in the German line that might have more shells, but some are 3, some are 4, some are even 6. Know what your capability is. Know what your total damage output is for that magazine worth of shells, because that will tell you whether a target is worth taking on or not, or whether you can effectively do anything to that target. Know your tank.
Okay, and to piggyback on that, basically, is you also want to know the weaknesses and the capabilities of your opposition, right? So if you're going up and you've singled out, a heavy tank that's isolated and by himself, you got to know, okay, what is the reload time of that tank? What's the armor thickness of that tank? Will my gun be able to penetrate that armor? Knowing these types of things, knowing view ranges, some lights have better view range than other light tanks do. And if you're facing against that tank and you have better view range and you know you do, take advantage of that. There's certain things that will help you get better and progress in the game, the more you know about the opposition tanks and what their capabilities are.
Let's talk about good spotting positions. To me, the light tank is one of the most challenging types of tanks to play in this game, simply because you've got to take in a lot of information from the very beginning of the battle. If you're actively scouting, you need to go to the area where you can spot enemy tanks as they are moving out into the field without exposing your tank to fire. And you need to understand where the best places to go. You learn the map, know the areas of the map, and pay attention in your battles. Whether you're playing a light tank or any type of tank, pay attention to what the other teams tend to do. And that will tell you where might be the best spots when you are actively or passively scouting you need to get to as quick as possible. And also, another thing is know if you're on the other team, where would you go? Because chances are that's where the enemy scout is going to be. So know the good spotting positions of your tank, whether you're actively spotting or whether you're passively spotting, and also understand where that enemy light may be sitting as well, where he may set up in order to spot your team.
I need to add on to that too, because a lot of times when you're wearing those lights, your team be trying to tell you what to do, what you've already got in position. It goes along with what you were saying there about knowing the map. Do what you know to do. Don't listen. Plenty of examples. We've got a replay posted up on what replays. Boston. I was in the right team being told from the beginning that I was holding the team up in my right team, and I don't know being top of XP, but I think it was like 7,000 spotting or something that I did that match. So, yeah, what do you say, man?
Perfect. Another thing to do, basically, as a light tank is to know when to push, know when to retreat, know where you can go to help break a flank, basically just map awareness, right, is what it kind of comes down to. So knowing when to flank is you're looking at your map down in the lower right-hand corner. I have mine blown up a little bit here for you. But basically you want to watch that, and as the game plays out, you want to kind of see where weaknesses are, where maybe you can make a probe back into the enemy defense to kind of help break that line, help your heavies push, help your mediums and your TDs break that line of defense that they have to be able to push and get the full flank on them. In most games, most of the time when you lose or when you win, it's because a flank was either broken or fallen. And, because one team is surrounded on all sides basically by the enemy. And taking just little opportunities to be able to watch the map, watch for those opportunities, breaks it in between their defense, that you can push back in between them and kind of help try to break that line is important as well. Knowing when to retreat is important as well as knowing when to push, when your team behind you is cleared out everything you've spotted, and knowing that you can now advance a little further to see if you can spot a little further into their defensive line there.
Also, when it comes to spotting, I've talked a little bit about good spotting positions, knowing where you want to get to in order to make those spots. One of the most important things you can do as a light tank is getting early spots. so your team sees how the enemy team is dispersing out in the field. Sometimes you will be the only scout. Sometimes you might have one or even two other lights on the team with you. Know where you want to go. Pay attention to where the other scouts are going, and get to a position as quickly as possible. Whether you're actively scouting or passively scouting, you want to get many early spots as possible. Now that's certainly also going to give you an opportunity to get more XP. It's also going to allow your team maybe set up to, or in the process of setting up, to get some early shots, especially in our artillery. So early spots, knowing where to go is very, very important. As an active scout, also as a passive scout. In fact, as a passive scout, know your speed, the speed of your tank. And if you're going to passively scout from a bush or a certain position on the map, know whether you can get there quickly enough. Know where the best spot is to get there, and so you can give your team the early advantage. If you're actively scouting, you want to be able to go to an area that affords you some protection, and also allows you to spot the other team as they are dispersing to the field.
Perfect. And then something else as well, we've already talked about this a little bit in the first section of the video, basically is to use your camouflage whenever possible as a light. If you're going to be, of course, a passive spotter, if you're going to be active, of course, that's not so applicable. But you also want to make sure you're double bushing if you are going to shoot whenever possible. It's not always going to be possible, but you want to make sure you're firing through, at least one or two bushes when they're solid, in order to not get spotted if you're needing to do damage. Your main objective as a light is not necessarily always to do damage, although some lights are better at that than others. But basically, you want to make sure that your main objective is to spot and let your team do as much damage as possible. Now we're going to cover some of the don'ts that you don't want to do as a light. First thing is suicide scouting. Basically, we see this all the time. Basically, it's where people will just push right into the enemy, and they'll just keep driving, trying to not get hit, and try to kill Artie. They're really not doing it for a strategic purpose other than trying to kill Artie a lot of times. And basically what they're doing is they're putting their team at a disadvantage. If their tank dies early, that's a lost opportunity for spotting to be done for your team, for damage to be done to tanks that are harder for the rest of your team to spot. Because really you are the eyes of your team, and you really don't want those eyes to be taken away simply by you making a mistake by pushing in too hard, too fast, and getting yourself killed too early in the game.
You also don't want to just sit on a blank that you've got to cover. I mean, you can spot, all slew of enemies coming right up, say the one line that you're on, and you give them that. But if you've got nobody to cover, what you're going to do is get a line and then the others pay attention, so you're going to see they will shoot a big split. If not, go out there, find a safe route that comes along the terrain and the bushes, and we want to go from a position where we want to go to some good.
Another thing we want to talk about is just being smart when you're actively scouting. If you look at this map, this particular map has a wide range of topography to it. We are sitting up on top of a hill at the moment, but you notice even this hill has little dips in it. There are roadways in between the hills. There's a lot of tree and forest area, but if you're an active scout and you're moving around, and obviously part of active scouting is being on the move. You're not stopping a tremendous amount unless you're peaking ridge lines, and you're going to do that momentarily and quick. You never want to overexpose yourself. Use the topography to your advantage. Do not put yourself in a position where you're going to overexpose your tank and obviously get spotted and invite yourself to get enemy fire. If you're on a ridge line, you want to poke up and then sit back. Poke up and then move back. And that's depending on whether or not you've been spotted or not. So just be smart about how you move around the map. Use the topography to your advantage. When you spot people, know where you can move to keep from taking fire if you have been spotted in return.
Perfect. Another thing too is basically you don't want to be pushing too far up ahead of your team. I see this a lot of time on Pro Korovka where people will go down the 1 or 2 line and they'll go sit in the standard bush that everyone sits in, and then they push up too high, especially at the beginning of the game, where their support, their TDs and their heavies and medium tanks and everyone behind them cannot hit it except for the SPG. And basically it makes it difficult because when you get up there, you're spotting a bunch of tanks and you wonder why you're not getting any spotting assists. It's because basically everyone behind you can't see as far as you can. So you're basically out of their draw range. Whatever you're spotting is out of the draw range. So just make sure you're not pushing up too hard, too far up ahead of your support, and not leaving yourself an exit if you push up that high. You always want to make sure you have an exit in case things go bad.
Here's another note. Once you're spotted, you need to find a place to take cover until you're on spot. When your sixth sense goes off, you've actually been visible to the enemy for 3 seconds. The only way it will be less than that is if you're running a premium consumable, and that might knock it down by a second. So say you've been spotted a few seconds. Once your sixth sense goes off, understand you have been spotted for almost 3 seconds, if not 3 seconds. And you need to be immediately seeking to use the topography to get unspotted, and keep this in mind as well. There is a length of time before you will become unspotted, and typically it is 6 seconds, but it's 6 seconds from when you disappear from the direct line of sight of the enemy. They will still be able to follow what direction you're going on the map, even though they may not be able to see you for 6 seconds. So keep that in mind, and wait till you're unspotted before you either poke that ridge line again, or before you seek another bush to hide in order to get further spots.
Alright, perfect. So that's going to conclude this training session. I think that's quite a bit of information to take in for light tanks. I just want to thank Hay and Todd for taking the time to, go over this with us, and make sure that, we're giving good training to our team clan members. Once again, just make sure that every battle you're going in, you're taking the boom to everyone else. Thank you much, and I hope you all have a great one.
Happy tanking.